for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
What's going on, everybody? Dusty, Gager, and Cass with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Training camp is just around the corner. It's almost time. It's 12:06 on the day of the Estes. This is a big deal. The Two Guys and a Goalie, brought to you by GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years of quality, efficiency, safety, driving their success. GS Construction has a foundation built on teamwork. Now they want you to become a part of the team. Visit www.gsconstruction.ca. Click Ready to Work, or just visit their page on Indeed.ca with the Next Up Person program. At GS Construction, it's not just a job, it is a career. And Cass, what's going on, buddy? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Just plugging along. We're through that first little bit of school and got
settling in.
Teacher stuff coming up and settling in. But no, we're good. Ringette season is now fully underway. So just getting into.
How many of your girls are playing ringette?
Just one, the middle one.
Just the one.
Just the middle one. No, the oldest one's got swimming. That's her sport right now. Swimming and volleyball for the oldest. And then
volleyball too, eh? School volleyball or club volleyball?
No, she's too young. So she'll start, it's like kind of sort of club programs. Like she's still pretty young. So it's not like I don't think there's full leagues yet, but where they basically go in and do little practices and stuff. But I'm hopeful for that one for her. Like, I think that would be a great sport for her just from a team standpoint. And she's going to be like 6'1". So.
Yeah, did you play volleyball ever growing up?
Not really. I did basketball.
Yeah, I played ball. I played basketball.
And that was because, I was tall and a lot of my buddies played. And with volleyball, my parents made me say no to some things. I would have played it, but it was like, I was playing football, I was playing hockey, and I was playing basketball. So it's like they drew the line in the sand on me and said, no, you have enough. Otherwise I would have. So not really good at volleyball.
Did you play volleyball growing up?
She's awesome.
I just can't believe that there wasn't a burger left for me today.
Whoa. Wait, what?
I know that I said I'm not eating here anymore, but it was kind of facetious when I said that.
Wait a second.
And there was all the A&W crunchy burgers. And
you guys, you left them. You didn't get one.
You didn't leave a burger for.
I didn't get one.
Did somebody have two? Was there one? Wait a second, Trev. Was there one and he didn't want one? Gager, you slide dog?
No. I said on the show. I said I'm not eating. But I was making a joke. Everyone knew I was making a joke.
How many did they bring in? 8?
Unbelievable.
I thought they brought in 10.
Cass, they didn't save one for me.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Dusty's going, can't believe the crunch. Gager, you hear the crunch? Can't believe the crunch. Couldn't wait to try the crunch. Didn't get the crunch.
I'm trying to think who would have had who would have eaten the 8.
Wow.
I had one.
Trev ate 2.
Tommy had one. Eric had one. Trev had one. Zach had one. Trev had 2? No, Trev only had 1. I don't know.
Well, we know how he gained the 50 pounds then, I guess. Eh?
The case of the missing.
The last thing we need is another food controversy with Gager involved.
Well, to answer your question, Dusty, yes, I did play volleyball.
You did, hey?
At Notre Dame, though, there was a gap before hockey started. It was after Canadian Thanksgiving, so you need to do something. I played football and volleyball.
You played football too?
Yeah.
Nice. I played basketball and hockey, and of course I did play in one media volleyball tournament, and we won it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then I announced my retirement the next morning, and I haven't played since.
But you had
go out on a high.
Mean teammates, though, right? Not a good team environment.
My volleyball team?
Yeah.
Me, Struddy, and Gregor.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah. I couldn't play anymore. I was done. I simply couldn't handle those guys. Struddy's too much of a prick. There's just no way I could continue on playing alongside Jason Strudwick in a tournament like that. I don't know how you didn't have one. I can't believe
It's okay. It's all right.
Maddie must have had one after. My parents came by. If my dad ate one, I would be really pissed. I'd be really pissed.
Might have to have a discussion with HR Daddy.
Now, he did bring in some...
those donuts?
Okay. They went to Italian Center Donuts.
I had to have a donut because I was saving myself for a burger. But really good lemon glazed donut from
Italian Center Shop does donuts at another level, man.
Yeah, they're good.
They're just
all their baking. All their baking. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
the desserts there are. Hey, Hernan, did you have a burger? Yeah. So who all did Reed have a burger too?
No.
So you had a burger, Jay had a burger. Yeah, Jay had one. I had one. Eric had one. That's 4. Zach and Trev, that's 6. Tommy had one, 7. Matt must have had one. That would be 8.
That's 8.
Last one, Tommy went around and asked everyone if they wanted it, and everybody said no, so he had it.
So Tommy had 2 burgers.
He had one late.
And he had one before the hangout. All right, there we go. That's
my
how it
God.
is. Tommy Gazzola. The
Another
man.
food.
I knew it.
See, the food it's always TG. Always that guy.
You took all the heat
for the jerky,
oh my God.
and he's scoffing down 2 burgers.
Unbelievable.
Well, he's got to keep his energy up for tonight. See what happens.
I'm glad we got to the bottom of it. It is the Estes tonight, Metro Cinema, Gardner Theater. The Reed Wilkins Show will be live from the theater from 3 to 6. Estes arrival at 6:15. The show begins at 7. We were down there yesterday. It's just the most perfect facility for like what we do. It's just like, it's old. It's a little ratty.
Oh, yeah.
But it's got some character to it.
Yeah.
And look, I have to say it right now. Like the nominees for show of the year are the Nielson Show, the Oil Stream, the Hangout, and 2 guys and a goalie.
The flagship.
We're nominated. It's kind of a big deal. 2 guys and a goalie is actually the one that has been going along exclusively online the longest.
Yeah.
So pretty big.
Pretty big night. Pretty big night.
Pretty big for us.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Huge.
Huge night. It's gonna be pretty entertaining. Really looking forward to it. All right, 2 guys and goalie presented to you by GS Construction. See, there it is, Gazzola. He goes, I asked everybody if they wanted the last one. Yeah, but did you ask Gage or Tommy? That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Were you gone was he gone by the time you came in?
No, he was here, looking all fat and sassy.
Did he ask you?
No, it was gone long before I got here.
You know, part of this is on Tina from A&W. We told her we needed at least like 10 to 12. But still, I mean, with that being said, I guess I can't ask you. But that burger is delicious.
Thanks. Yeah.
Was,
you know
Tommy
what really
had
hurt?
too.
Because was it before I came on this morning and you took a bite and it was that, and I wasn't looking and all I heard was the crunch. I was like, what? What is that?
Yeah. A good crunch will do that to you, right? I was like, what are these guys having this crunchy?
Oh, that's fine.
All right, boys, let's start with Sidney Crosby, 8.7 again. Cass, 8 points. By the time he's done, and we had Josh Yeo on today from The Athletic in Pittsburgh. We're talking about, I think Hernan had the number yesterday on EST Afternoons. Well, you were on with him. You would know this. What was it, 18 or 19? 19 years at 8.7 or 18?
Yeah, 18, right?
I think it was 8. Cass, how much money do you think Sid has left on the table being at 8.7 for 18 years? Or is it just the way it timed out for him type of thing?
I mean, some of it was the time.
You might have.
I think you're muted, Cass, or something. You sound very, very quiet.
Sound like your
There we
mic
go.
just connected.
No, that was Gager.
Are we back?
No, you sound like you're connecting to a different mic or something. You fix that. Gager, do you think he left money off the table?
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Of course he did. Multiple
But how
millions.
much do you think? Like probably 20, 30 million?
Easily.
Throughout the whole time?
If you did some time value money calculations to see, yeah, he'd probably and see what over the course of his career what it was. Yeah, I'd say offhand without like crunching numbers, I'd say 20 million at least.
Yeah.
At least that much. But I did watch, I don't know if you saw him, he was doing he does his thing where he goes to season ticket holders in Pittsburgh and drops off their season tickets, like, or meets them. It's an amazing thing. Like how cool would it be if Connor McDavid came to your house with your season ticket hold?
Yeah.
But he said, look, I understand the game and it's never been about money to me. It's always been about winning.
And he still made lots of it.
Still made tons.
It's a rarity in the professional athlete nowadays.
He'll probably make even more when he's done, right?
Yeah.
Like he has the opportunity. Who knows what he's going to do after his playing days? But no, it's all about winning to him. I think he sees the landscape too. Like he's not there is probably the allure of being a Penguin the rest of his career. But Dusty, if you look at that contract, by the end of it, if Pittsburgh's completely rebuilding, that will be a very
I heard you
tradable
say this
contract.
yesterday when I was driving to the
And
theater.
I think there'd be some teams at the, if you can add a Sidney Crosby for your cup run, that completely changes the dynamic of your team. I don't care what team it is. You're adding one of the an unbelievable piece at that time of year.
I don't think. Can we hear me now?
No, still can't hear. Maybe reconnect. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Let's see if Cass reconnects and maybe he can connect a little bit better. I will say I do disagree with you though that I think he's worth more than 8.7 right now. I saw you yesterday say that. I don't know if you changed. Like I was listening when you were talking about it. And, well, no, I do. I think he's probably a $10 million guy still.
See, maybe I didn't phrase it properly. I know in the open market, someone would have given him a ton.
Hey, Trev, come set Cass up again.
And I'm sure he would get more, but looking at, are you going to pay Sidney Crosby that type of money at this point of his career on another team? I'm looking.
It's a good question. Like
look at the landscape of every other team. How do you fit that in, right? Unless he goes to like San Jose or I mean, there's a few teams that could fit that right now.
So you're thinking from a cap perspective, a team might not have the room to put a $10 million Sidney Crosby in there.
That's a competitive team.
Yeah.
Look at just the competitive teams. That's someone's going back the other way. That's not as good a player and costs more.
All right, Cass, you've reconnected. How's it sound?
How do you tell me?
Sounds a little bit better.
A little better.
Yeah, I think
What's
it's
going on, guys?
no. I know it sounds normal now.
Yeah.
I think we're good now.
No, yeah.
You're
Yeah,
back.
I don't know what's happening, and I wasn't muted. It wasn't my fault.
No, yeah, we could still hear you a little bit. It was just like faded for some reason. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
We never had that in 5 years. It was weird.
It's weird. That's okay. Technology.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Gage. He's left millions on the table. He's left millions on the table, but he's not like he is a guy that's going to be hurting or shouldn't be anyways if he's done things the right way financially. And I think he's someone that appreciates the poetic of it as well. Having it be the 8.7, like there's some poetry to that, which I think is kind of cool. Guys, I don't think he gets traded anywhere, even if they're in a rebuild. I think
That's where I was going to go next. Yeah, like I just don't see it.
I just don't see it. I don't think the organization would want to do that. I don't think he would want that, even if it does give him the chance to win again. Like there's just something for him to be a Penguin and to be a Penguin for life. And what he means to that hockey community there in Pittsburgh, I can't see it happening. So I don't think there's any way, or I shouldn't say there's any way, but very, 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 very slim to none chance that he gets dealt, even if they struggle in 2 years and don't make the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, another team-friendly deal here. It's not like he hasn't made any money. He's made lots of it. But yeah, he's probably left a couple schmil on the table.
Well, yeah, Penner's Pancakes is over in the chat and says someone had calculated it in a recent article that they figured it was probably a shade over 50 mil.
Oh, really?
That he left over when taking a good deal here at 8.7, another good deal here at 8.7. I mean, I'm a little surprised by that number. I'd like to have a link to that article so I could actually take a look at it. Because, I mean, he had 94 points in 82 games last year, had 93 points in 82 games before. I mean, he's had phenomenal. Now, it's interesting because we had Josh Yowie on this morning, and he said, Sid took the 8.7. He wants the Penguins to be competitive again. I think in a perfect world, over the next 3 years, Sidney Crosby would like to take a legitimate run at one more Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I personally, looking at the roster, don't think it's going to happen. But as Cass said, he doesn't see him going anywhere else. I personally don't either. Josh Yowie this morning said he wouldn't. But Gage, let me ask you this sort of like bigger picture question. For the Sidney Crosby legacy, what would help more? A Stanley Cup, a fourth Stanley Cup somewhere else. Let's just say Colorado. Let's say everybody's always talking about Colorado. Yeah. So he goes to Colorado, wins a fourth Stanley Cup, or he stays in Pittsburgh, is the Penguins' all-time leading scorer, did his entire career in Pittsburgh, did win 3 Stanley Cups, a bunch of other awards. What do you think helps the legacy more?
Ooh, that's a good question. I just looked up his career earnings, estimated over 150 mil. So
he did okay.
He's going to be able to afford a burger, unlike me that can't get one.
And those were free burgers.
Those were free. I think it would be to stay in Pittsburgh. I'm leaning towards that.
So do I.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I look at the other, like if I'm going I'm comparing him to the swan song of Wayne Gretzky, right? Like obviously he retired a Ranger, but didn't go, didn't get shuffled at the trade deadlines, stayed kind of with the Rangers. Completely different kind of scenario, I guess, because he's with one team his whole career. But I just seeing the player like Mario finish there, one of the greatest of all time, top 5 of all time. And I do think Sidney, it's probably in that 5th position. And we had that debate on if he's top 5 or not.
Yeah, I've got that listed here again today.
I think if he retires a Pittsburgh Penguin, it increases his legacy of how he looks, because if you see him in a Colorado, even him in an Avalanche uniform raising the cup, I think looks kind of funny.
It would look weird. I think it would kind of look cool, but it would also not be right.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
McKinnon passing it to Crosby, that's a pretty cool photo, right? Or something like that.
But you'd have to I'd want Crosby to pass it to McKinnon. That would be cooler.
That would kind of be cool. Cass, what do you think? Legacy question, though.
Oh, no question. I agree with both of you guys. Yeah. No question. Legacy is greater. Again, there's a poetry to it, right? The $8.7 million contracts, aside from his
for like 2 decades,
for like 2 decades. So, that's a big thing to be in Pittsburgh. Again, the whole career, the guy that turned the franchise around, that played with Mario, that took the baton, brought in a whole bunch of cups, did amazing things on the world hockey level outside of the NHL. Like, to me, it's not like him leaving would taint his legacy. Like, it wouldn't at all. But I think it grows. The legend grows by staying a Penguin for the entirety of his career, and just for that, again, for the community, for him after hockey, what he's going to mean to that community. And it's just, to me, just without question, his legacy grows by staying in Pittsburgh, regardless of if they win or not anymore.
Does the number 87 get kind of that unofficial retirement? Does anyone else wear 87 once he's done?
Around the league?
Around the league.
Oh, I think people still wear it.
Yeah?
Mind you, not many people wear 87 anyway.
I'm trying to think of who wears 87
now. Who else wears
now.
87? What's that, Cass?
I don't know. I was just asking the same question. I said, who wears it now?
Yeah, like I can't even tell you.
Obviously, no one is going to wear 66 or 99 ever again. But does anyone wear 87?
Let me see. Other players, other current young players with the number. When was this article? This article was in 2023.
I mean, it's a training.
Christian Reichel, Aiden Dudas, Martin Kaut. So I don't think it matters. Liam O'Brien wore it for 4 seasons. It's so. This is the other area I wanted to go. Like Sidney Crosby, and I think because his last Stanley Cup was in 2017. So, but overall, the complete package of what he's brought to the table. Gager, do you think around the league he's been celebrated enough? Has he flown under the radar a bit? Like, we're sitting here talking. You just said it. You have him just outside the top 4 or 5 of all time. We can get into that conversation. He's got 6 100-point seasons. What did he win? 2 Hart trophies? He won 2 Hart trophies. Only won 2 Art Rosses. So it's
2 Conn Smythes.
2 Conn Smythes. Did he? As we look back on, we've been watching Sidney Crosby for almost 20 bloody years now. So has he been? Have we? Like, how do you think he's been portrayed? I guess over the last 2 decades around the league. Like, I don't know if I ever felt him on that like godlike walk that McDavid's on right now and the way he's viewed. You know what I mean? Like
he was, I think, like if you go back
10 years ago.
Yeah. When they were rolling and won those back-to-back cups and that season of, what was it? 2008, the Olympics, was it 2008, the Olympics, when scoring that goal?
2010.
10, sorry.
Goal, yeah. And that was early in his career.
That was really early. And I think they got beat in the playoffs that year. In like the second round, I think, or something like that. Chicago. Anyways, no, I think he was on a different trajectory earlier on in his career. I think now with the way media is portrayed, we see a lot more. Like of course we saw highlights, but we were still tuning into TV late at night to watch sport packages or the next morning to see what happened. I mean, when Sidney Crosby comes to play the Edmonton Oilers, it's still a marquee. The matchup is Sidney against Connor McDavid. They still say this. He still puts tons of butts in the seats. People go to watch Crosby games. I guarantee if you were in another market and went to a Pittsburgh Penguins game, you'll see a ton of 87s jerseys, right? So, no, I think it's just he's an older player now, right? He's still very impactful, but in a different way in a game, right? He dominates with puck possession and puck control, whereas when you look at Connor, he's dipping and dashing and creating highlight kind of things we watch on sports packages. But no, I don't think he's been undervalued at all.
Cash, you played in the league against Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
You played in the league when he was out there. What was the aura of Sid like when you were playing?
I can tell you, it was more than maybe what it's portrayed in the media. I mean, everyone knew he was the guy, and he still was at that time. He was the best player in the league when I played, and there was an aura about him, and rightfully so. I mean, he was the type of player, like, him and Connor are two very different players. We've talked about this a little bit. Connor is just the explosiveness, right? Like, he's there, he's gone. Just blows by you, generates off the rush. What Crosby does that's still so unbelievable is he makes something out of nothing, particularly in the offensive zone. So just, sitting his butt down in that chair, defenseman trying to apply pressure to him, being able to spin off, create space, and make plays down low. He's probably still arguably the best player in the league at doing that. It has been for a really long time. But everyone knew. I mean, I had one shift against him on ice, and that would have been the 2013 playoffs.
You had a playoff shift against him? Was this an accident or what happened?
Well, we beat Montreal round one that year, and
that was the bloodbath, right?
It was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Meatball line of me, Zach Smith, and Chris Neal. We started the series against Pittsburgh, and set the tone. And I think it was Crosby, Iginla, and I think Kunitz on the other side. At that point, I wasn't even paying attention. I was just staring at Crosby and Iginla, going, "What am I doing on the ice right now?" So lined up across from Iggy. It was on there for the draw. Changed as soon as I could, and wasn't on the ice against him the rest of the series. But
Iginla was there at that point.
Yeah. I think it was Kunitz. I think that's who it was. Again, I kind of, I looked over and I saw Iginla and I was like, oh, that's who I'm lined up against. And I saw Crosby and then I blacked out. So
I believe Matt Cassian has fainted on the ice just prior to puck drop.
Just prior to puck drop, the anthems are going on. I'm going on. What is happening? Why am I here? Who am I? Oh, man. But I remember my first game against Crosby in the regular season playing against Pittsburgh. And I don't think I had a shift against him that game. But I just remember there was a play along the wall right in front of our bench. And Erik Karlsson, who was our guy at the time in Ottawa, that's who the matchup was, the matchup they tried to get. And Crosby was very much like, he always looked really good out there. Like, he looked good. Every shift he was good, kind of dangerous, looks like a really good player. But then every once in a while he'd just do something and spin off of somebody and you're just like, whoa, like, ain't nobody else can do that. And he did it to Karlsson right in front of our bench, where Karlsson stepped up to apply pressure. And it was, for whatever reason, Crosby was like in the post-up position. So he's like an outlet pass. Probably just the way the neutral zone regroup worked, where he was like on the left wing right in front of our bench at that time. And so it was a quick up pass. So he got the pass from the D, zipped it up to Crosby with Karlsson closing on him quickly. And just the speed at which, Karlsson tried to seal, push him to the wall, seal inside, push on him, that Crosby was able to basically chip the puck off the wall and then spin off of Karlsson to step around him and beat him to create like a 2-on-1 out of that play. With the guy coming through the middle was ridiculous. Like, just, again, the smoothest, because it's like there's no space, no room off of there. You see Karlsson coming in with the angle and you're like, oh, he's got him. Like, this isn't going to be anything. And just a tiny little bit of pressure on his hip. And I don't even know if he bounced the puck off the wall. I couldn't see because it's, the bench was there. But where he was able to basically spin off of that pressure and create, 2 or 3 feet of space to be able to step around Karlsson in that. I just remember thinking like that is insanely difficult to do under pressure at speed, like where you're backing up, you use your edges, you spin off the pressure and generate momentum, was absolutely ridiculous. And he does stuff like that still sometimes. And you see it mostly down low where like a demon, and the tricky part is with him in the defensive zone, it's like if you go high pressure and you rush at him, he's going to spin off of you and create space and light you up. If you're too slow to get out there and pressure him, well, now you give him all the time in the world to either step or to find a lane or to make a play, and he lights you up. And he's still just so good down low, like below the hash marks in the offensive zone. I think he's the best player in the league in terms of generating offense, creating plays. Like he's just so fantastic down there. Really good defensively too. But yeah, I mean, he was a legendary status back when I was playing, rightfully so, and still is. I mean, still one of the best players in the world, guys.
Well, who did he dummy a couple of years ago in overtime here? I think it might have been the Cowboy. I think it was the Cowboy.
Was it poor Chris Russell?
Yeah, it was poor
victimized?
Chris. Oh, he was really victimized. Yeah, because Talbot was the goalie, and he made like 2 guys and the goalie all look dumb.
Hey, that's us.
In overtime.
2 guys in the goal.
It was. Yeah, those types of things. It's something to behold when like Cass was saying, when a superstar does that. From like I was in the press box watching that, but to see it at ice level, that's a whole different ball of wax. To see actually how, as you eloquently described it, Cass, the skill of the really elite players to get distance from, again, one of the most elite defensemen to play in the game too. Absolutely crazy.
Is this the one where he came out of the corner?
Yeah.
I'm watching it right now. It says it was 18. Was that Zach Hyman then? No, it's 18. It's a defenseman. No, it might be Hyman.
Was that Hyman at that point?
I don't know who that was. I can't tell who it was. But he puts it between his legs and walks around him. Yeah.
Yeah. And then goes far side.
Who is this? I can't tell who it was. Who was it? Strome.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Strome. It was Ryan Strome. Yeah. He takes him down in the corner, spins back, comes out, puts it between Strome's leg, nurses in no man's land. And Crosby goes backhand and scores on Talbot. I mean, what are the odds years later?
Whoops.
I'm looking at the video. I'm like, Strome's trying to cover it, and Nurse has got it like by the hash marks, reaches back with his stick once. It's just like, anyway, I know the goal you're talking about. That was pretty impressive.
That was the play that got Ryan Strome traded.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might have been the last straw for Strome.
For Chiarelli, that was it. He was I was beside him in the press box. He goes, that's it.
Trading him for nothing. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, that's too funny. All right, we're gonna get to Hired or Fired coming up here for GS Construction. It's 2 guys in goalie, presented by Sandman and his team over at GS Construction. But a couple other things to get to. Oilers camp is just around the corner. We were texting a little bit earlier today. What is the most intriguing storyline that you guys have heading into Oilers camp? Cass, we'll let you go first, buddy.
Yeah, we'll go first. I mean, to me, it's going to be the performance of Matt Savoy. They prospects camp in the tournament, they take a younger team in. Vancouver took like everybody they had, went with a pretty crazy lineup. But Edmonton definitely had, I think, the youngest and least experienced team there. So not surprising to see him get worked over a little bit. But I'm just interested to see, putting Matt Savoy with top end guys, if he gets an opportunity in and through exhibition. I'm interested to see what he does. I want to see that. Here's a guy that is next up for the Edmonton Oilers. Holloway's gone. Broberg gone. The only guy in the pantry that may have some juice for the season, and unless someone comes out and completely surprises us, which is possible, is Matt Savoy. And so for a team that is trying to win now, and trying to add, especially over the next couple of years, as contracts start to kick in for Draisaitl, for McDavid, for Bouchard, when that happens, I'm just really interested to see, how Matt Savoy pans out here, what kind of opportunity they even give him, and when he does get the opportunity, what he does with that. That's the big story for me coming through camp.
We're just talking about camp, right?
We're just talking about heading into the season, like camp.
We're heading into the season.
Well, no camp. I think camp's fair. A lot of the stuff that we're going to still discuss at the regular season, we're going to see kind of try to be sorted out in camp. So, Gage, what do you got?
I mean, if we're just I looked at it kind of two ways. I was start of the season and then camp. But if it's just training camp, these exhibition games, I just want to see how Troy Stecher looks. We saw him in a handful of games. One was too many penalties, couldn't get a really good idea. But from what I remember, he moved well, and it was quite a good first pass. But I want to see him, on a regular shift, looking to play, probably play the legs off him at this point, probably upwards between 20 minutes a night, and see how he moves, what he's all about, what kind of physicality is there, and where it's training camp, so you don't really know, but there probably will be some PK time in there, and see how he reacts with that. But I think Troy Stecher, to see where he fits in on the back end.
Well, one of the things to be looking at from camp, because I was going to say Emberson. None of us really know anything about Emberson.
I thought one of you would pick him. So
some of the analytical guys seem to think that there's a good package there. But here's the issue with both Stecher and Emberson, is that the guy that one of them is going to be playing next to is not going to be available for the beginning of camp, in Darnell Nurse, right? So what do they say? They're hoping Nurse will be back maybe for the final couple of preseason games. So then you're going to get 1 or 2 games with these guys. So Stecher and Emberson are going to have to show. I would assume one of them plays with Kulak throughout the preseason, and then the other guy who would eventually probably slot in next to Nurse is just rotating through a bunch of other guys on the left side. So it's not ideal. I don't know how much of a read we'll be able to get on it when we don't see, I know it's just preseason, but in the preseason they give Emberson 3 games with Darnell Nurse in the first 5 games. You have a chance to see if maybe it could work. Now you're going to be kind of going in sort of blind to both of those guys and their ability to play with Nurse come regular season.
Well, we talked about last year, if memory serves correctly, the rumblings was to put Broberg with Ekholm, right? To see if there was something there, and they couldn't do it. So again, you find a situation where the Oilers going into training camp, probably wanting to see what certain defensive pairings look like, but now not able to with Darnell Nurse, from what it sounds like, at least missing the first 3-4 exhibition games. So yeah, I guess you'll get a really good idea, because if you have Emberson and Stecher playing together, that's or
playing somewhere else. It's
somewhere else.
2 right shots playing. Cass, how much?
2 right shots.
Does it matter that you're not going to get a chance to see them with Nurse for the majority of camp?
Well, even if Nurse doesn't skate at the start of the camp and only plays the last couple exhibition games, that's probably what you're going with anyways. You had a long season. Nurse was hurt. You want to give him time.
Yeah, that's enough for Nurse, right? That's all he needs.
That's enough for him. And so you're going to see those other guys. They're going to get some opportunities. So I'm not worried about it's we got to figure out who's going to play here, because it's right now it's one of those guys. And so I'm more intrigued just to see how they play. And then to see how they adapt to what the heck is Darnell doing at times on the ice. In those moments when he just does something, how they're able to read off of him and react to him. And but we're not going to see that. Even if Darnell Nurse was healthy, we're not going to see it too much. He's probably only playing 3 or 4 of the exhibition games anyways. So I don't think it's going to be that much different in terms of getting a look at those guys. But yeah, listen, Stoff is still working the phones, right? He's still calling the GMs. We still could see someone else come in before training camp. No, we're not going to.
If they don't, I'm blaming Stoff.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
Who's running this show?
That's what I said when he was in Whitecourt a couple of weekends ago. What are you doing here? Get back down there. Get on the phone.
Yeah.
Find a right shot D-man. Unacceptable. Sheldon, not in a white garbage truck, texts in 780-218-9999, says, guys, an actual spoon would have been more useful than what Strome was traded for. As opposed to Spooner. That was funny.
Good one.
Joe from Stoney says, by far the most interesting thing is how the defense works out and who all steps up. And RCN is in and says, who gets McDermott, who, as he was referred to on the Nielsen show this morning, Travis Dermott. It is interesting with Nurse maybe not being around a bit. Maybe it opens up a door where Travis Dermott plays with Stecher for 4 or 5 games, and you're like, oh, actually, these guys aren't bad together. Could help Dermott actually kind of lock down maybe that seventh
it
spot,
hugely
right?
helps them.
Yeah,
Hugely
big time.
helps them.
Big time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the
Hugely
reason he
helps.
was brought in, knowing that they're not going to have Nurse. You're going to have somebody play these preseason games.
And it helps that picture of him and Hyman on the back of that boat too. I think that really helps.
So a bunch of things help.
Yeah.
And another buddy in the mix.
Yeah.
Another buddy in the mix. Now, with that being said, you can't blame everybody for wanting to work with their buddies.
I guess.
Look at us. It works well when you work with guys that you like. I think it works pretty good. So, we'll see how that plays out. This one's in from the Godfather. Says, surely they'll have a guy in camp who can get out of position, not play physical, and lay down in their own zone to mimic Nurse as the partner. Godfather. That's savage, man. I almost didn't want to read that. With that being said, it's a very clever text. But my God, we said it, I don't know if it was on this show or another show or wherever, it was probably Nielson show. If they have to miss Darnell Nurse for a good chunk of this season, they're in trouble.
Yep.
I mean, I know some people don't like him, and I know some people don't like how much he makes, but that blue line without Darnell Nurse, not a good one.
No.
Not a good one at all. So,
No,
he's extremely important.
We said that
Yes, he is.
Playoffs,
You're right.
Heading into the playoffs, I'll say it again now. He is so key for this team to have success. Like if Darnell plays well, this team will have success. If Darnell doesn't play well or is hurt, it's a lot to overcome. It's a lot to overcome. Like as much as you don't maybe like it, don't want to hear it, like Darnell Nurse is absolutely essential to this blue line. And Darnell Nurse needs to be better than he was in the playoffs. I mean, he needs to. Like Darnell Nurse at his best, if he can give you his best this year heading into playoffs, makes a huge impact, massive impact. And not having him, you're a worse team without him. And I know you hate the number. I know you hate his contract value, but they are a worse team without Darnell Nurse in the lineup for all the, sometimes odd things that he does where you're just like, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he went there. I don't know why you're laying down. Why are you on one knee, in front of your own net again? Like I don't understand some of that sometimes, but when he's on and when he's playing, he is effective and he is a good player. And even with some of the oddities to his game, he's still playing top end minutes against other lines, top guys.
Yep.
Plays heavy minutes, and you have to find a way to replace that. And those are not easy minutes to replace. You can just throw it to anybody. So, yeah, I mean, you need Darnell Nurse, and you need it to be good, and you need it to be healthy.
I can't wait to be watching a game in here with everybody, and we're just all.
Oh, it's gonna be great. East Coast game.
We'll just be bitching about players.
Give us a weekday matinee in the United States.
Oh my God!
I mean, there's always one of those.
Yeah.
That'll be great. Let's get into hire or fire it for GS Construction. They are hiring now. Become a part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or their page over on Indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team at GS Construction today. The GS is working on that project just around the corner here. The whole street was shut down there for a little bit, but I saw all their trucks there today.
I gave Sandman crap.
Did you? Yeah. Now you have to go all the way around up the other way. It's a real pain in the butt.
He heard it from me.
You think as one of our partners, he'd say, nope, not that area, boys.
You think he actually knows what's going on? No.
I would assume he approves every single project that they do in the city.
He does, actually. So we'll have to get him in here, and we can actually bitch about the construction around. Because there's a lot of GS everywhere.
It is funny if we bring him in, like, let's talk some hockey. And then he gets in and I'm like, okay, listen. You're ruining the city with all of the GS construction going on. Did you not hear McDavid talk about construction? He's looking at you, Sandman. That's tough.
The guy lays pipe.
Here we go. Hire it or fire it. This is a total nerdy question. I got 4 hockey questions coming, so don't freak out. Agatha All Along is more interesting than The Penguin. Both of them coming out this week. 2 completely different shows and 2 completely different universes. Cass, are you in on either of these shows?
Penguin, I don't have whatever channel is it that does it, so I'd be in on the Penguin.
Is the Penguin on Crave, or is it coming out on Crave? I think it's on Crave. Yeah. I will record it on my phone and send it to you.
Yeah, that would be one I'd be in on. The Agatha All Along, it's not my jam. When getting to that spiritualness and witch stuff, I mean, that's just it's not for me. So I probably just am going to pass on that one.
I think I'll end up enjoying the Penguin more, but I'm somewhat intrigued. Like, I love Catherine Hahn, who's the actress, and I'm a sucker to see how it all ties into the Marvel universe. So I don't know, Gager, where do you come out on this?
I myself, like Cass, am too cheap for Crave, so I'll have to go Agatha. I did a little bit of research.
Did you dive into it?
Yeah, and she's quite evil in the comic books, right?
Oh, she is. Okay.
Yeah, and so just the whole,
and she was the neighbor in the other one, right?
Well, yeah, but she was manipulating,
yeah.
And now, Scarlet Witch stole her powers. How she's going to get that back? Getting a coven together. I think there's something there.
Yeah. There's a couple other famous actresses.
I mean, I know the Penguin, and Colin Farrell's done it in the Batman movie. It was great. It was a pretty.
Got a little bit of him in there, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say Agatha.
All right, here we go. Jeff Skinner will score 35 goals this season. Hire it or fire it.
I almost just said keep it.
That was the old one. Remember, keep it or clip it?
Hire it.
Oh, man. Cass, what are you doing? If you're hiring it too, I got to chat with you guys for a second here because.
No, I'm going to fire it because I don't think the PP minutes are there.
Bingo.
I think he gets 20.
Oh, I hope he gets 20.
I hope he gets 20. I don't think he'll get 30 because I don't think the PP minutes are going to be there.
Isn't it going to be tough, Gager, to score 35 with no power play time?
I think there's going to be time for that second power play.
You think so? You think they actually mix it in?
I think they have to a little bit.
Why though? That first one's fire.
I know it's great, but I think just
you got so many talented guys. Yeah.
Why not? You know, if Connor and Leon are upset because they're not getting enough power play time, there's something wrong.
That's a good point.
Right.
You're right.
It's about winning. Okay. And if you can get everyone else involved, because who knows what happens in playoffs? Maybe someone gets injured. You have to mix and match. You got to get. I think there's something to have another power play. Even like how many times does Connor and Leon they draw a penalty, they get some time, and they stay out for the power play too? Like throw the second one out there. What's 45 seconds, and then get Connor back out. Like so. No, I think you'll see. I think you'll see not only a power play too, but Skinner will finish with 35 plus.
Yeah, you're wrong.
It's not right or wrong. It's hire it or fire it, Cass. Let's go this one. So this news just came down today. He had 72 points, 31 goals in 82 games last year as a 21/22-year-old. The Wings overpaid Lucas Raymond. 8 years, 8.075. Hire it or fire it.
I'm going to hire it again. He's the Wings' best player, right?
So you're going to fire them? They overpaid it.
You fire it. Yeah, that's good. And I'm firing it. Yeah, I think he's.
Could this be like a Draisaitl contract where
that's what I'm thinking.
I think that's what they're hoping for.
They're hoping. Yeah. Hopefully that thing looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. And really, if you look in the ballpark of like for the Detroit Red Wings, if we look at like Seth Jarvis and the contract he signed with Carolina, you know, another young player, a couple years in the league, where, you know, Jarvis has other players on that team. Like he's got Aho, you have weapons that are there as well. And so when you look at that and you go, okay, for the Detroit Red Wings to lock him in, to know you have him for 8 years, you eat away a couple years of free agency with this one of a UFA, and you're hoping year 3, year 4, year 5 that you're getting incredible value on this deal. So you're upward projecting him, wanting it to be a Draisaitl style contract where it's like you're going to get incredible value. You maybe overpaying him year 1, year 2, but year 3s and onward, you're hoping you're getting a discount here. So I think teams do this, or not. I know teams do this to try to say, okay, we have to think about the future cap and how we're going to manage this. And if he's going to be a core piece, rather than having a bridge deal and having to pay him $10 million now on the next deal for an 8-year deal, if we want to retain, if we do like a 2-year bridge deal, it ultimately ends up being cheaper and more manageable from a cap standpoint, you know, in around that $8 million mark. So I don't think it's a horrible deal. So I gotta fire it as well. I don't think they overpaid. Now it could turn out we're wrong, but I think it's a reasonable deal for what you expect from the player moving forward.
Pender's Pancakes over in the chat says, guys, what about Esa Lindell? He got an extension 5 years by 5.25. Pretty steady defenseman back there. I think it's a good deal. 5 years, 5.2. Yeah, I think that's he's 30. So you take him through your first half of his 30s, but I think that's a fun
That's
deal.
in your prime, close to enough to your prime as a defenseman too, I think.
Neither of you guys will be able to watch this because it's going to be on Crave, but they're launching the Habs rebuild show. Do you see this?
Really?
Yeah. And I've been reading some promos for it on CFL and TSN. That's the only reason I knew it was happening.
Short story.
Well, that's the thing. That's the question here. The Habs rebuild is heading in the right direction. Hire it or fire it.
Are you talking about the show?
Like they're doing a documentary on the Habs called The Rebuild.
Oh, I'm gonna fire it.
You don't think so?
It's too soon. Maybe getting footage from now, but they're not going to be good for another 3-4 years.
You're thinking there's going to need to be 4 seasons.
Yeah,
of the
like
rebuild. Remember when Oil Change came out and they were like, "This is it. This is the year to do it." And
it's the
just like,
kiss of death.
Yeah, was not good. Cass, what do you think? You think the Habs are heading in the right direction?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they are. Like if we look at their roster, they're heading in the right direction. I don't think it's. I would agree that it's not going to be a year one thing, but they have some good young players. Now you have like Kirby Dach coming back from an injury, who's a great player, young player. Alex Newhook, young player, good player. You have Jake Evans stepping in a little more established. Suzuki, I think, is a great player. Caulfield has more upside. Gallagher getting long in the tooth now at this point, but still a player that grinds and gets out there. So they have some okay pieces. And then when we look at the defensive side, well, they have some potential on the defensive side of the puck too. So it's like I think they're in the midst of the rebuild. It still could take a couple years, but they have some good pieces that are going to make them a better team moving forward. I don't think it's a massive step this year. I think that's years 2-3 from now. But I do think, generally speaking, it's going in the right direction. I don't know that the line really helps them that much. Maybe helps a little bit, but we'll have to see. Jury will be on that until we have to see what he gives us.
Are you saying that a Finnish player on the Montreal Canadiens isn't going to do anything in front of one Dustin Nielsen?
It's a bold statement. If I had my mouse that controlled that computer, I would have clicked you off right now. Yeah, that's why I'm still waiting for Jesse Puljujärvi to eventually fall down to the Habs. I do think they need to establish something between the pipes, though.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing against Montembeault. I know they like Montembeault and some of these guys, but I don't know, man. I don't know if it's their I feel like they're a young team that's like stuck in a pile of mud and the tires are spinning and they're almost out, but they're not out just yet. They need like one more push somehow to get them up there. And I'm not a mudder. I don't go 4x4, but this is just a reference that popped into my head.
Yeah. They're not a playoff team. They're scrappy. They'll probably beat the Leafs a few times on Saturday nights like they normally do, but that's...
Which is all I ask for at this point. Beat the Leafs on Saturday night.
I think they surprised some people, though, guys, this year.
So?
I really do. I think they surprised some teams this year. And I think with St. Louis, you're going to get a team that's going to try to push.
I do like him.
Yeah, I think they surprised some people. I don't know if they're a playoff team, but I think they're going to be... I think they're going to be decent. They're going to be okay. They're not going to be an absolute bottom feeder. I don't think.
Do you think they finish ahead of Ottawa?
Ottawa brought in a goalie and a new head coach.
No, I don't think so. I think Ottawa's further ahead in the process.
I think Ottawa's. I'm not. After all these years of me saying that they're a playoff team,
you're done hopping on that Ottawa bandwagon.
I'm done with the Senators.
I gotta hold out hope with the Sens, man. I gotta hold out hope that they're gonna.
Every year I'm saying
they're gonna push for a wild card spot. Probably gonna say the same thing this year. They're gonna push for a wild card spot. And we'll see. But there's some young, young guys in Ottawa too. Local product Zach Ostapchuk, for example, that played a couple games last year. Who I watched him a bunch when he was in junior, both with Vancouver, so my old team, and then I saw him a little bit with Winnipeg. Watched him once or twice, and I love this kid as a player. I texted my old teammate Mark Mathot, who does some media stuff for Ottawa. Out that way, and I was just like, man, you guys got an absolute steal when you got him in the draft. I'm like, you are going to love this kid. He's exactly what your team is going to need, and I think he's going to be a guy that again got a couple games last year was steady in them, that really has the chance to solidify the bottom part of their lineup and stylistically really helps them out. So it's like there's these pieces that just kind of keep slowly getting added. You get the goaltending piece added in. You have a coach who's going to come in and expect a lot out of his guys in green. I think yeah, I'm going to land there again. I know this isn't the episode where we're talking about predictions and what we think is going to happen, but I mean, I'm probably going to have them pushing for that wild card spot. I think they're going to take another little bit of a step forward too this year.
I'm an only child. My parents got it right the first time. You guys have siblings. Does having did Brady seeing his brother Matthew win the Stanley Cup, does that light the fire a little bit more for him to be successful and be a playoff team?
I don't know. Both my sisters are teachers, so I'm already way more successful than both of them. So
You're the Matthew. Never mind. You're the Matthew.
Just kidding. I know that's a fair question. I mean, but does it matter? I'm sure it might light the fire a little bit more, but can he do it himself? I don't know. We'll have to see. Last one. In 5 years, the Esties will be held at the Wind Spear. Hire it or fire it.
Hire it.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't that be a one-night show?
Yeah.
Yes, just say hire it so we can wrap it up. I mean, it's good. Yeah, exactly. That's where we're going. What's coming up on your show today?
Hernan, what do we got? No, we got, we're going over.
You're going to Vancouver?
We're going to Vancouver. We're talking about the NFL game yesterday.
Tyrell Ford.
Little Estes and Tyrell Ford. I'll try not to butcher the question that I asked his brother
I heard that
yesterday.
No, you didn't butcher the question. Trey just didn't understand.
But I didn't
was
do a good enough job.
I was driving to the theater and I heard you guys talking, and I was like, no, I don't think he understood what Gage said. I thought the question was fine.
Okay, so I'll redo it today and see the brother, because rumor has it that they do they game against one another online. So I need to know the series, and if the game itself this Saturday is the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun. Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for Two Guys and Goalie today. We got the Esties tonight coming at you from Metro Cinema. The Reed Wilkins Show will be live from the Garneau Theater from 3 to 6 this afternoon. And EST Afternoons with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage. I saw somebody asking over in the chat. EST Afternoons, 1 hour or 2 hours? 2 hours every single day from 1 to 3 right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. I will see you at the Esties tonight. That's going to be fun.